A big congrats are in order today. The second annual 50 over 50 Europe, Middle East, and Africa list just came out.
Yes, it did. Thank you so much. It is the second time we're doing this list, and it marks a global expansion of the North American 50 over 50, our initiative highlighting women over the age of 50 who are stepping into their power at 60, 70, 80, and beyond. So we started in the US, we expanded to Asia, and now we are in Europe, Middle East, and Africa.
So you started in North America. What can you tell us how this list changes region to region?
The North American list is primarily American, so one country, multiple states. We do look for geographic diversity here. We don't want everyone just in New York or California or Texas. But when we expand globally to Asia or Europe, Middle East, Africa, we want to have a wide variety of countries represented. So when you look at today's lists, you will see the UK and Ireland and France and kind of those predictable players, but you will also see women from Poland, women based in Latvia, women who are running governmental agencies in Egypt and beyond. And we have entrepreneurs in Nigeria and South Africa, in the UAE. So really, these women are coming from truly all over the globe. And I kind of like to say all paths lead to the 50 over 50 from wherever you are in the world.
I love that. And I really want to get into today's list. So what are some of the stories that stuck out to you?
So I think some people are really enjoying to see Sophia Loren on this list. She is 88 years old. She is a film legend. And in fact, the American Film Institute made a list of the 25 top female film legends of all time. She is the only living member of that list. But I want to make it clear that you don't get on the 50 over 50 just by surviving. And indeed, Sophia is not resting on her laurels. In 2020, she appeared in an Italian drama that won her major film awards, including one industry award for defying age and ageism, which is fabulous to see, especially for this list. And then outside of her work as an actress, she's a huge foodie. In 1998, when she was 64, she released a cookbook of her favorite Italian recipes. And then in 2021, just 2 years ago, she entered the restaurant business for the first time. She opened a pizzeria. It now has a second location. And sources differ on whether or not she actually said this, but she is credited with the phrase, "I would rather eat pizza and drink wine than be a size zero," which is my personal motto. And so it's just a fabulous story to see someone who is continuing to work and continuing to make an impact, not just over 50, but over 80 and approaching 90.
I love that motto, A, but B, something that you just said that stuck out to me was you don't get onto this list by surviving. So how are these women reinventing themselves in the second half of their life?
So I would point to journalist Galina Timchenko as an example of someone who has had to redefine herself. She is Russian by origin, and she was trying to report on Putin and the Kremlin, but was hampered by governmental forces in that country. So she fled to Latvia so that she could continue to have freedom of speech, freedom of reporting, freedom of the press. And that to me is a reinvention, right? When I can't imagine starting from scratch as a reporter in a new country, but when you're so committed to your work, it becomes necessary. She is the founder of a site called Medusa and is labeled as a foreign agent by Russian authorities who really don't want her exerting freedom of the press. And so for her commitment to her work, just last year in 2022, she received an award from the Committee to Protect Journalists, the Gwen Ifill Freedom of the Press Award. So that to me is a classic story of reinvention.
That's an incredible story, but it is across the globe. So I do want to talk about logistics. How are you finding these stories and how are these women getting chosen for the list?
So we do open nominations to all of our viewers and readers. We, of course, produce this list in partnership with Mika Brzezinski and her Know Your Value initiative. So when she mentions it on Morning Joe, nominations come in. And of course, the Forbes reach is global. We then, to that point, talk to our licensees around the world. We have dozens of local editions of Forbes, and those reporters know the entrepreneurs who are on the ground and who are making a difference. And then finally, we do use the assistance of some freelancers who can speak local languages, because I certainly cannot speak Polish or Italian. So it's helpful to have local sources on the ground finding these women. So then we kind of comb through all those sources and we look for the stories that, like I said earlier, you don't just get on this list simply by being over 50. We want to see people who are stepping into their power, who are creating their greatest impact over 50. So we have a number of people, and I might be anticipating one of your questions, who are the first in their position, who are breaking glass ceilings. We have others who are commanding the highest level of revenue or venture funding in their career at 60, at 70, et cetera.